So what quite makes a football class for you?
It's that word, you know what I mean? They've got to be very careful in terms of using it, you know, that there's some excellent footballers who've achieved so much, and so much that half of us footballers, the minions down here, who never even dream of achieving. But I think that word just needs to be just reined in a little bit. And it's the game of opinions, and I think that's what's a good thing about football, that everyone has an opinion on someone, and if you give a name and someone says, I think he's world class, or I don't think he's world class, and that's fine if someone does, and it's fine if someone doesn't. It's just everyone's interpretation of at the time how they feel about that kind of player. You know, it's you can go in the past, can't you? You know, Roberto Carlos's, the Cafus, the Maldinis. You know what I mean? And the modern day footballer now, what do you know who half of them are? You know, and because they talk about the footballers now, even the Rio Ferdinands, you know what I mean? That Rolls Royce a footballer. He wasn't world class. He was an ultra talented footballer who was unbelievable in his own right. But there's some other players who go on to another level in terms of stats, data. It's all driven now, isn't it? You know, I mean, there's no hiding place now. If you're hitting these stats and data, how can you not be at that level?
Yeah, one of the things that we noticed when we started the podcast was, as fans, we had a kind of maybe a lower bar than when we actually started speaking to ex-pros, and the bar was so much higher. And going from what you said about with Rio Ferdinand, I think a lot of fans would probably say he's world class. But also, you played the game, you played with him, so you would know more than the fans. So for you, is there a particular time period someone must have to perform over to be considered world class?
You've got to do it throughout your career, haven't you? I think your levels from when you come into football and leave football, I think they've got to be the same. You know, I think
Okay.
I don't think you can be world class for one season. You can score 100 goals, but then never score again in your career. That doesn't make you world class. It's you know what I mean. You can be a very good footballer. You can be ultra talented. You can be on another level to the rest of your teammates, and you know what I mean. You can be the best in the country. Doesn't always make you world class. You know, I think if you're comparing it to Messi and Ronaldo, then nobody compares.
Did you put Alan Shearer in the world class bracket?
Just to say, it's become a bit of a show mission to try and.
Yeah, I don't think I would. Listen, Alan's one of my all time heroes in terms of centre forward. You know, I mean, Gary Lineker was my all time hero. Is Gary Lineker world class? No. You know, I mean, his levels were just as good going forward for England, going forward for country. You know, but then if we're calling Alan Shearer world class, then we're talking Harry Kane's got to be world class, because Harry Kane's data is bigger than Alan Shearer's data in terms of country. You know what I mean? So you always got to compare those kind of numbers, stats, and datas, and it's just it's
a minefield, isn't it?
It's a phenomenal. You know what I mean? Because you're talking all these kind of things. You know what I mean? Alan's top goal scorer in the Premier League. Someone's scoring all these goals for country. You know what I mean? You got to judge it individually. It's such a difficult one. He's probably the best player that England's seen in the Premier League, Alan. You know what I mean? Because that's what it is. Is he the best player that the Premier League's ever seen? No. So then they've got to be on the pedestal ahead of him in terms of being world class. And I don't know who that player is, by the way. So before you ask, but it's just unbelievable. You know, Janino, probably the best player that I played with. Is he world class? He won the World Cup. Was he world class? Probably not, because his levels weren't consistent enough in terms of throughout his career.